change the nation. Come on, let's sit down and have a conversation about the things you don't talk about. In this generation, it's the time to express a voice for the voiceless. Just share your opinion when asked nothing less. You might learn something new, might even change your view of how you look at the world. Is it half empty or half full? Just share your thoughts and say you're proud. It's the start of a combo or the talk of a town. There's no right or wrong, so just be yourself. Cause your voice matters just like everybody else. So be inspired, don't forget to subscribe. What's up, guys? It's your girl, Nation J. I know that I have been gone for some time. There are reasons due to that. In the process of me just taking on different responsibilities in life and transferring from one place to another, my bag that has all my recording equipment had gotten stolen. So I have been in the process of slowly but surely taking the time to replace each of those intricate items that I had, so that way I could get back to you guys with more content. But yeah, that's the reason why I've been away. Do look forward to this month. I will be getting back into the groove of things, of dropping my true talks and doing more vlogs and just getting back into the mix, you know? Ending our first quarter, I definitely did want to connect with you guys to do a quarterly check. I call them my self checks. Those include a time where I just sit down and I am just real with myself about what is taking place so far, where I'm at, where as far as meeting my goals. Just taking the time to regroup, figure out what I've been doing, what I need to do, just so that way I can get back on track with reaching my goals. So in January, you guys remember that we had the whole conversation of effort and setting goals. I know that we discussed that sometimes you do have a hard time setting goals, and that is absolutely fine. But with us ending the first quarter of the year, as I said, I like to sit down and I basically just ask myself like 5 to 7 basic questions. My first question is a entire check. How am I feeling? And this question you have to answer honestly. How are you feeling mentally, physically, and emotionally? Yeah, those are 3 different parts that you have to answer, but you have to evaluate how you're feeling to really gauge the reasons of why you haven't been completing certain goals, or why you've just been so adamant at completing certain goals. So I know for me, I did take on a lot at one time, but you know, nothing's too much to manage. But just doing that all at once, I can honestly say I was starting to feel overwhelmed. I was starting to feel disconnected to certain tasks that I had. So with me realizing that's how I was feeling mentally, me realizing that I was feeling overwhelmed mentally helped me realize that me feeling overwhelmed mentally is what caused me to feel disconnected emotionally to just different tasks that I had to complete. And then like physically, I just was feeling fatigued, you know. Honestly, I was just lazy, honestly. But yeah, so that was the first question that I asked. How am I feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? Just how am I feeling overall? Next question of why am I feeling this way? Because life is a cause and effect type of thing. If you need to pause the video so that way you can write these questions down, so that way you can do the self check yourself, definitely take the time to do so. But in answering the question, why do I feel this way? For me, why was I feeling overwhelmed? I was feeling overwhelmed because I took on one too many tasks at one time. Why was I feeling emotionally disconnected? I was feeling emotionally disconnected because my interests weren't in certain tasks anymore as they were when I initially started. Why was I feeling tired? I was feeling tired because I was burning myself out. So that's how you would go about asking those questions, or answering that second question of why do you feel the way you feel. So after answering that second question, I like to go into what can I do differently. That will be my third question. My what can do differently question basically brings my goals into effect, right? Because sometimes, as we said in the beginning, like when you have a certain goal, there's times where you get distracted by other things. And sometimes those distractions can be the reason why, for me, you feel overwhelmed or you feel burnt out. So with that, it's the what can I do differently? What can I do to change how I'm feeling or to change just the overall of what's going on? And that could be as simply as like just letting go of something, moving something to a different time so that way you can focus on it later, or even setting a schedule to where you give specific and intentional time to each thing that you want to focus on. From there, my last two are basically what are 3 positives that took place this year. With that, we've been through 3 months so far. We've been through January, February, and March, right? So you can either do it as 6 positives to where you bring in 2 positives that happen each month, or you just focus on that number 1 positive thing that took place for those months, right? And then the next question would be your, not necessarily 3 negatives, but 3 areas where you felt as though change is needed, right? After doing that, you basically have your self-check, right? You've checked in with yourself emotionally. You've questioned the reason of why, right? After questioning the reason of why, you come up with an action plan to either correct those things or just have that action plan to be able to better yourself in certain areas, or to even just get back on track, because as you said, distractions be distracting. And then like the last 2 mainly just focus on like the positives of the year, because you don't want to continuously have just this negative view of, oh, all these bad things are happening or all this stuff isn't going my way. Like even when things aren't going your way, there's still positives in the situation. So you want to bring those positives to light, because focusing on those positives can definitely put you in a better mood moving forward. And then lastly, just 3 areas where you felt like there's improvement that's needed. Once you see that, have it on paper, because what I do, I write mine down in a journal. But once you see that, then it'll be a lot easier. And as I want to keep mentioning in all my videos, this is just my opinion, but it'll be a lot easier for you to gauge where you're at currently and set up a plan so that way you can make it to where you want to go, right? So as I said, I'm definitely coming back in April with more content. I'm gonna definitely be on top of being more consistent. As I said, with this self-check video, if you want to take time to pause the video, write down the questions so that way you can properly answer those questions for yourself and do the self-check, then by all means do so. But until next time, it's your girl Asia J, and I'm out. Peace.
Start of a combo or the talk of a town. There's no right or wrong, so just be yourself, cause your voice matters just like everybody else. So be inspired, don't forget to subscribe, and join me and Asia J for the ride.